A lot of people struggle with figuring out how to actually make money from the markets. And in this video, I'm going to talk about a trade that made $15,208. I'm going to show you exactly things that I saw in real time. This is coming directly from my trading journal. And I'm also going to explain a little bit more about the setup, things that I saw, things that happened inside of the market that actually made this trade a little bit crazy. And then make sure you stay around until the end because there is actually a twist in this whole trade and I want to be able to share it with you so that way you can learn in your own trading. So let's go ahead and start with what I saw in my trading journal. So these days when it comes to my trading journal, I do have a physical book that I like to take notes and write things down as I learn them or as I observe them inside of the market. And then also I like to just take screenshots of my setups and all these other things that I may see and just swipe through my phone. It's so much easier than the way I used to journal. If you want me to create a video on how I do that, then go ahead and let me know in the comment section below, and you may see a video pop up on this channel about how I journal. So anyway, here is one of the trades. So one thing to know is that I took trades on one big move. I took 3 different trades on one big move. 2 of them were really nice trades. One of them, we'll talk about that in a second. But here is the first trade. So basically, I've been using Fibonacci retracement inside of my trading for the past, I want to say, almost 2 months now. And it's been helping a lot. So the levels that I draw on the chart with me videos, they're the same levels that I use, but now I'm combining those levels with Fibonacci and it's been amazing. So one of the things that I saw inside of this market, here is one of my levels. And basically I saw, here's the bottom, here's the top, price retraced to the 78.6%. And then I thought that this was a good time for me to enter the move. Here is me entering the move pretty much once price got up above the 78.6 level that we saw on the last image. And of course, as soon as I get in, price tends to go down. I entered 2 positions at this particular level and my target was up here, which was basically the next resistance point. And I entered on 2 different funded accounts. So a 200K account and a 100K account. And on the 100K account, I entered 5 lots. And then the 200K account, I entered 10 lots. All right. So now we can see price is starting to retrace a little bit. Always fun when you enter a trade and price tends to go back on you, especially if you're looking for buys. So one of the things that was really tricky here was basically almost getting stopped out. You can see that it almost hit my stop loss. And when I'm setting stop losses these days, I'm not really caring about how big the stop loss is. I just want to make sure that the stop loss is sufficient, because if price does go in a direction that I believe it's going to go, then the risk to reward is just going to take care of itself. So luckily I put my stop loss right below this key support level and price rejected, and then it started to bounce up finally. Next, just reading some of the notes that I have here. So pretty much entry was at a psychological level 61.8. Like I said, we'll see. This is pretty much just me talking to myself inside of my notes. And basically I saw some things in the market and basically just keeping the overall agenda in mind when I take trades. So generally at this point in time, the market was bullish and the agenda was to push the market up. There were a number of things that were happening inside of the market at that time, and I don't remember all of them. That's why I keep these notes. But you can see very clearly that price came up, retested this level, tried to push up again, came back and retested this level, essentially forming some sort of double bottom, and then I knew it was on. So that is basically the entry there, and you can see that I'm looking at this on the 5-minute chart. So a lot of times when it comes to my entries, it just depends on what time frame looks the best to me and gives me the most confidence in trading. As you can see, I entered this on the 5-minute time frame, and basically this was a time frame that had the cleanest price action. So that's typically how I decide where I'm going to enter, or at least what time frame I'm going to enter on. And usually that ranges from the 5-minute chart all the way up to probably the hour chart. One time I even entered, or a couple of times I entered on a 1-minute chart. It was really obvious price action, and fortunately in those situations it worked out. So you just got to play around with the time frames and just see what works for you in your trading. And next, so here is one of the screen grabs from the broker. So this is the 200K account where I said I took 10 lots, and you can see my entry price was at 26.50. We had a couple of things working for us. We had the 61.8% fib level, and then we also had this nice round psychological number. So those were, and then also the third thing was we bounced up from a support. So I had those three things as confluences when I entered this trade. And then here's a screen grab from the other account. You can see this one is 2,700 in profit at that point. This is 56, almost 5,700 profit at that particular moment. All right, so this is where the price finally started to really push up. And some people have asked me, why don't I use trend lines? And I don't really use them for entries. I only draw them when it's completely obvious. So right here, we have a touch, and then price almost came back to here. And that's when I drew the trend line. Basically, you need 2 points in order to create a line. So 0.1, 0.2, and then it started to push up. And then once again, seeing price come back to well below my entry was also nerve-wracking. And I believe at this time, I got some notes over here. So here it is, pull back during the first 15 minutes of New York SC Open, then started to go bullish again. So I remember being disappointed with this trade a little bit, well, at least the way the price action was going, not necessarily my entry, but because it was kind of consolidating in the late London session right before New York Open, and I was expecting a really large push, but it took roughly an hour for price to really start pushing again inside of the market. That part was just really nerve-wracking, especially after almost being stopped out here and then consolidating and then coming back almost to the level where I almost got stopped out again. But like I said, price started to push, and then once price broke above these highs, I remember reducing my stop loss quite a bit, probably at break even at this point, just because I want to be safe. All right, and then here's another screen grab of the 200K account. You can see at this point, I have moved my stop loss in profit, I believe at this time. Yes, because my entry was at 26.50. You can see that very clearly. And now my stop loss is at 26.54.50. So 40 pips in profit. So definitely want to hold on to that profit once it's finally out the woods with all this consolidation here that was going on. All right, this is just another screen grab of the 200K account. Now you can see that it's over 10,000 in profit at this particular point. And as you can see, I took trades essentially on the 15th, 16th, and 17th, and the bulk of the money for these two accounts were made on the 15th, but I did take additional trades on this account just so that way I could meet the minimums to potentially get paid out from the prop firm. All right, so price did all of this, and then it did this candle right here. So really annoying at that point. Like I said, I was already in profit. I moved my stop loss well in profit, first at break even, then somewhere around this level right here in order to move it even more in profit, especially when it was doing all of this. So you can see a little bit of pullback there, some pullback. Price is consolidating around this level. And I did take off some percentage inside of this trade. Wow, I did not know that could highlight. But anyway, I did take some percentage off this trade. And you can see a little bit, my notes are a little messy, but the 100K, I took off 80%. The 200K, I took off 90%. So basically, I took roughly all the money off the table just because I didn't want to risk price coming all the way back down to my stop loss or just coming back to my entry, just because I've seen that so many times on gold. I'd rather just lock in the money and just see what the market's going to do. It did push up a little bit more, so that's pretty cool. And then eventually it did get up to my TP and then started to react quite violently by doing all of this right here. So it's really good for me to see that my analysis and the stuff that I'm sharing with you all every single week with the Chart With Me videos, these are the exact lines that I'm using for my own trading. So it's really good to see when these things work out. This is another setup that I took a little bit later. So this was the next day. Basically, when price reacted, price moved up quite a bit more, and then it reacted off of 26.85. And then using the Fibonacci retracement, I saw price pull back, and then I took an entry right around here, 26.68, and then price started to push up a little bit. And then you can see pretty much how this trade took off. I don't think I held this all the way to my TP. I think I got out somewhere around here if I'm remembering correctly, just to basically lock in some of the money. All right, so here is, let me make myself smaller. So here are some of the stats from this particular funded company. You can see the trades that I took. You can see the equity curve here. If we zoom in on the 15th, you can see it started here and then it went all the way there. So you can see that the total profit and loss on this 100K account is 6,400. And then if we scroll out a little bit, you can see some stats over here. Actually, it may be on the next page. Yes. So you can see that total amount, daily drawdown. So that was for that particular day. And then you can see that the total winnings was 7,800, almost 7,900. And on this particular account, I was in some drawdown. And you can see right here on the equity curve that I was in drawdown and then finally traded my way out of drawdown and then was able to push up and get 100 or at least 6,419 in terms of equity on this account. Next is the 200K account. We can see that the total profit on here was 10K, 100% win rate. Oh, this is the other thing I wanted to mention. You can see on this account, I had a 80% win rate, and that's because on the last trade, I just got really impatient. So ended up losing $512, and then of course, 15 minutes later, it goes in my direction. So just another reminder for me not to lose patience with my trades. Just be patient, walk away if I need to, and set alerts. So on this other account, 100% win rate, which is freaking amazing. And this was me just trying to take trades just to potentially get paid out from the funding company. All right, so on this account, you can see that the total winnings for this was 16,333. Basically, this account initially was in some drawdown and I had to work my way out of drawdown. You can see that for a while I didn't take any trades, but basically on the 15th, price did pull up quite a bit. And we can see that on this page right here where equity got up to this 20 or 210,000. All right. And then also you can see the average profit per trade, which is roughly 3,200 from the 200K account. Basically, you can see all of the trades right here where basically there were no losses, at least in this time period, there were no losses because obviously I was working my way out of drawdown and you only get in drawdown at least when you lock in a loss. So anyway, so these are all the trades here. For some reason, I don't know where the 100K is, but basically this was the bulk of all the trades. You can see 8,000. Let me zoom in right there. You can see roughly 8,500, 500. This is like a tiny one, then like another 1,000. So on this particular account, and then as you saw on the other screens, that basically there was 6K in gains on that other account. So anyway, so this is the breakdown for this particular trade. It was definitely one of the best trades that I've taken in my trading career so far. Definitely a lot of nerve-wracking moments, especially when price was initially in that drawdown period when I first entered the trade and the trade just immediately went negative. That's always so frustrating when you're trading and it seems to always happen. So whatever. This is where the story takes a turn. So after all of that planning, all of that stress, drawdown, and all those different things, I went to go request a payout from the funding company. As you can see that all their names are blocked out because I don't want to give them any free press at all. But they refused to pay out the trade, citing that at first they were saying that I didn't meet the number of days. I'm like, okay, great. So that's why I traded more days. And then they said, oh, you did not meet the profit consistency rule. And I'm like, what rule? So long story short, I looked through their terms of service. There was no mention of it, but they did mention some sort of document inside of the terms, but they didn't make that document available inside of the trading portal next to the contract. And they also didn't make it available once I first signed the contract. So it looks like something that they added later after I signed the initial contract. So just something for you to be wary of with some of these funding companies, because basically they have terms of service and they can change them anytime they want. And a lot of people have been getting refused payouts for almost no reason. As you can see, all the stats there, good standing, all of that, but it was like, oh, you broke this rule that we didn't have in the initial terms of service. So that is unfortunate. So until I find another funding company, because I actually do like funding companies, I want to find a good one. If you know a good one, you can DM me on Instagram at Chart Confidence, or you can post it below. Let me know. I'll research them. But I do plan on making another video on the criteria now that I'll be looking for funded companies, just to make sure that I don't get screwed like I did with this particular company. And it's very unfortunate because I've been seeing a lot of really amazing traders making insane amounts of money with these funded companies, but then they don't pay out when they request the payout. So it's very unfortunate. And I hope that you learned something from this video. I'm definitely going to make more breakdown videos. And in the meantime, I'm just going to be trading my own capital. I hope that you were able to take some information away from it and just help yourself become a better trader. I hope you were taking notes in this video. So feel free to watch it multiple times if you need to. See you next time.